Count Basie was a jazz pianist, organist, band leader, and composer. In 1935, he formed the Count Basie Orchestra, and he led his big band for almost 50 years. In addition to being an extraordinary musician, he was a husband. His wife was Catherine Morgan. She was his second wife. She married him in 1940 and remained his wife until the day she died in 1983, just 1 year before he passed away. But just because they stayed married till death parted them didn't mean that their marriage was smooth sailing all the way through. Like any couple, they had some bumps in the road, and one huge bump was this woman, Bixie Crawford. She sang for Count Basie and likely did other things for him too. She was an exceptional vocalist in her own right before and after she worked in Count Basie's band. But it was the work that she was doing with Count Basie outside of band activities that caused a problem for Count Basie and his wife. Let's get into it. But first, if you like these videos about your favorite and most scandalous celebrities from yesteryear that make the Ty Said What Ty Said channel a time capsule for the culture, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can know every time that I upload one of these videos or every time that I live stream. And comment "I subscribed" in the comment section so that I can say hello to you. Now, on to why you are here. We are taking this story straight from the pages of Jet magazine. This one is a two-parter. The first part comes from the August 26, 1954 issue of Jet. In the Mr. and Mrs. section, there is an article titled "Count Basie's Wife Asks His Arrest, Girl Named." It reads, band leader Count Basie was arrested in his swank Jamaica, New York City home on charges of disorderly conduct brought by his wife, Catherine, who accused him of an affair with his ex-vocalist, Bixie Crawford. The case was later dismissed in court when Mrs. Basie refused to press charges. Mrs. Basie said an argument with her husband occurred after she found a letter in his pants pocket from his former vocalist, berating Basie for firing her after she had been, quote, wife, mother, and sister, unquote, to Basie in her 3 years with the band. Mrs. Basie said that when she found the letter, she called Basie at New York's Birdland, where he was playing, and told him not to come home. When Basie showed up with a new 1954 Cadillac as a peace offering, his wife kept the car and put him out. He returned the next day, and an argument ensued in which Mrs. Basie claimed her husband threw assorted articles at her. Later, Basie moved to a New York hotel. Mrs. Basie said she will sue for divorce. That's a lot, isn't it? Well, we're not done. Just shy of 1 year later, these three were back in the pages of Jet magazine, but this time it was the mistress, Bixie Crawford, making the complaints. Check out this story from a June 1955 issue of Jet. It's titled, "Singer Slaps Basie's Wife with $25,000 Suit." Singer Bixie Crawford, former vocalist with the Count Basie band, filed a $25,000 personal damage suit against the bandleader's wife, Catherine, claiming Mrs. Basie assaulted, spit on her, and threw a drink in her face during a quarrel at New York's Birdland nightclub. Miss Crawford, who admitted several months ago that she planted an endearing note, which his wife later found in Basie's trouser pocket, claimed Mrs. Basie assaulted her and tossed the drink without provocation. The complaint was filed in New York County Supreme Court. When asked about Miss Crawford's suit, Mrs. Basie stated, quote, "I welcome a suit by Bixie Crawford because then I can introduce some very juicy letters she wrote to my husband before he fired her," end quote. That is also the end of the story. Isn't this story from the golden era in America when people had standards and morals? I only have some questions for you. You all let me know what you think the correct answers are in the comment section. So Mrs. Basie went as far as to have her husband arrested, but then she refused to press charges. But she was perfectly content with blaming the singer, Miss Bixie Crawford. Why is it that when a husband cheats, the wife puts more blame on the other woman than her cheating husband? What about the mistress's love letter? She said that she had been his wife, mother, and sister. That's a lot of work for a side chick, and 3 very creepy things to find in one individual. Mother and sister? Maybe, but wife and mother? Yikes. I don't understand that. I don't want to. But I do understand Mrs. Basie's reaction to finding the letter. Hey, you find out that your husband has another wife, sister, mother, you're also going to tell him not to come home. And high five to Mrs. Basie for keeping the new Cadillac and putting out her old man. But how about him coming back the next day to argue with her and throw stuff at her? That's not cool. I like that she threatened him with divorce, but as we know from the beginning of this video, she stayed. And what do you think about the mistress filing charges against the wife? Now, I'm not even trying to be funny, but look at her face. Beautiful woman, don't get me wrong, but doesn't she look a little messy? Like she's a little, down for the drama? And $25,000? That has the same buying power as $255,000 in today's money. Is that a fair amount to you? Or was the mistress overdoing it? I mean, the side chick did say that Mrs. Basie beat her behind and spit on her. Spitting is so gross. Now that I think about it, this poor, sweet, innocent side chick should have asked for $30,000. And Mrs. Basie threw a drink at Miss Crawford. I think that she got that throwing stuff from her husband. So you heard that this all went down at Birdland nightclub where Count Basie had his gig. So Mrs. Basie was probably doing her wifely duties, the laundry, because we know that Miss Crawford was taking care of the other wifely duties. But back to Mrs. Basie. When she was emptying her husband's pockets, she came across the steamy love letter from Miss Crawford. Again, a love letter that Miss Crawford admitted to planting. But then Miss Crawford also says that Mrs. Basie threw a drink in her face unprovoked. Now, maybe she didn't do anything to physically provoke Mrs. Basie once Mrs. Basie approached her at the nightclub. I bet that she was too scared to. I bet that Mrs. Basie showed up looking like she was ready to get into some physical action. You know what I mean? But in my opinion, planting a steamy love letter to someone's husband for his wife to see is provoking her. Am I right? Let me know in the comments. I still wish that Mrs. Basie would have dealt with her husband as harshly as she did the mistress, but hey, this story was already written before I was born. I think that the worst part of this story is that we'll never know just how many of those juicy love letters Miss Bixie Crawford wrote to Count Basie, or more importantly, what was in those steamy love letters. If you want to see another fun story from Jet Magazine's Mr. and Mrs. section, check out my video about Kingfish from Amos and Andy and find out what his wife did to make him pull out his pistol on her. You can see that video here. If you want text notifications so that you can get a text 15 minutes before I release a video or 15 minutes before I live stream, simply send a text to 786-632-2135 to let me know that you want text, and you will get an outgoing text message 15 minutes before I have a new video release. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ty Said What Ty Said channel. Please leave a thumbs up and comment so that we can get a discussion going. And share this video on all of your social media, especially your Facebook. That really helps me out a lot. And subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can know when my next video is ready for you. And if you don't like what I'm saying, but you love it, feel free to hit that applaud button just below your video screen there and send me some
donations.
Yeah, baby. See you on the next video.